Hello and welcome to the Back of the Nest match report. I'm not Chris Hambling, this is Chris Hambling.
I'm your host, Chris Hambling.
But I'm Mike Scott and I'm joined by Patrick O'Connor and Nick Gillard as we look back at a small banner being thrown at Selhurst that led to the police tweeting about an investigation and Newcastle fans getting very angry on Twitter. And some football happened. Right, gentlemen. Patrick, you said you were tired. What's been tiring you out?
Just life in general, and I've got Dio having me work every Saturday doing a match report reaction, whatever he calls that show on YouTube. So just life, but it's all right. I listen to the shows and I'm not on, so I'm not abandoning anybody yet.
Yeah, good stuff. I mean, yeah, for a young man, when people say that people in their early 20s have no work ethic, DR definitely does. And Nick, you have a ridiculous work ethic because you've been on about 17 shows straight.
Yeah, I have. I was just thinking, about 9 years me and Patrick have worked together on the show. It's a long time, mate, isn't it?
Is it
growing old
that
together?
Long? Is it that long?
Something like that.
Wow.
DR was by the twinkle in the milkman's eye at that point. Right, let's get on to some Palace news this week. The under-18s, very unlucky. Lost 2-1 at home to Birmingham City under-18s. After they went ahead, and they seem to have a player called Pharrell Williams, which is fairly cool. We had a goal from Victor Akinwale. He scored in the 89th minute. Annoyingly, then Birmingham scored after that. So it stopped Palace going equal points with the league leaders Fulham, which is a shame. But still, they'll carry on marching, I'm sure. The under-23s, they won 3-2 at Pride Park. Derby pulled it back. They were 2-0 down. Derby pulled it back to 2-2. But Raksaki got the winner, so that's all good. Palace were 8th in the league on goal difference behind Leeds. Derby absolutely rock bottom, so probably expected to win that, did well. And no Palace women game this week. The next game is they're playing Halloween. They're playing away to Watford. If there's anywhere Halloween should happen, it's probably away at Watford, in fairness. Now, one of you gentlemen wants to discuss Joby McAnuff. So whoever that was.
That was me. I was just looking at the thingy that you've written there, and I thought you'd just written Derby Rock without seeing the bottom in 14th at the end of that. I think, why is he bigging Derby up?
I mean, I've played a lot of times. I've played gigs in Derby, and it may have rocked for a brief period while a band better than us played after us. But in general, it's a shithole. Joby McAnuff.
No, sorry, that was terrible. Yes, Generations Cup, which I mentioned on the show last week.
You did.
To commemorate the 150th anniversary of the FA Cup. Joby McAnuff and Mikael Leisurewood have been revealed today. They're revealing a couple of players a day. I'll go through who we've got already. We've got Darren Ambrose, Andy Johnson, Julian Speroni, Eddie McGoldrick, Leon McKenzie, Rudy Hedman, Danny Gabardon, Bobby Bowery, Bruce Dyer, Simon Osborne, Sean Derry and Clint Hill, with manager Alan Smith and assistant Paul Stewart. Patrick, how many of those would be in your all-time Palace top 10, top 11, do you reckon?
Top Ambrose, Speroni, Johnson for sure. Yeah, that'd be it probably for the name that you just mentioned. Those three would definitely be the top 10 for sure. And AJ, Dazza, and Julian for sure. Yeah, that'll be it out of those. It's good players there. I mean, got guys that kept us up. Well, everybody kept us up because we were getting relegated every year. And a couple of guys that brought us up. So that's a decent squad. They better win it, by the way. Better win.
Danny Gabardon's an odd choice. You'd think he would have chosen a club he played for longer. But
yeah, agreed.
Yeah, Ambrose also absolutely storming on the radio at the moment.
He's so good
for big things. Yeah.
I listen to TalkSport every day because I'm retired and home, and I listen to him and who's he on the Tottenham guy again?
He does a lot with Darren Bent.
His teammate right from Ipswich. Yeah, he's really good. I'm telling you, he's going to be very, very good. If he gets on Sky Sports a couple of times, yeah, I think he's very intelligent, well thought out. He's not biased. He's really good. I love him. Agreed, Mike.
Yeah, he made it onto the Drive show. I was quite surprised the other day, and did himself all manner of good. So excellent for him, and hope he does well in that tournament as well. We'll keep you up to date with that. And when I say we, probably Nick. Right, that's enough of the Palace news for this week. Let's get on to the game. Right, we'll start with a tweet from the Croydon Metropolitan Police Service. On Saturday, the 23rd of October, police received a report of an offensive banner displayed by Crystal Palace fans officers are assessing the information and carrying out inquiries. Any allegations of racist abuse will be taken very seriously. Now, I have to assume that this is a banner in the Homesdale and not another random banner. But assuming it is, we all know what it said. We've all seen the posts. Let's get some thoughts. Patrick, tell me what comes to your head after me reading that out.
Absolute waste of time. I don't understand it. I mean, I saw that as soon as I saw it on TV, obviously, and then I saw about 1,000 tweets of the ban, and I was all for it. I thought it was, I thought it was a really, just expertly done job by the HF, pointing out exactly how they feel and a lot of people feel about this Newcastle takeover. So to see after or hear after that they're going to investigate it, I don't think anything in there. I mean, offensive. I guess what the guy was carrying did have a machete or a sword in his hand. It might have been offensive, but I mean, honestly, that was an absolute waste of time. And I can't wait for the report to come out that they've investigated and nothing came of it. That's a joke.
And Nick, how was it in the ground? Like what?
It got received very well. It was a scimitar. Patrick was the weapon there.
Got you.
Yeah, it was received very well in the ground. And to be fair, the HF have always done that sort of thing. We've had banners about greed in the Premier League. We've had banners about Roman Abramovich saying we don't want Russian money. So it's no surprise there was anything there. I think the Newcastle fans didn't like having a mirror held up because before the game, there were fans walking to the ground, Newcastle fans, gloating and singing about how blood money is going to make their club really good. And I'm sorry, that's I know not all Newcastle fans will feel like that, but and in the end, Croydon MPS tweeting that has actually given the cause a lot more publicity.
Yep.
There was a Guardian bloke on the radio this morning talking about it, and it's absolutely everywhere. And I really hope that at Chelsea next week that there will be another banner. And I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but Proud and Palace also tweeted and did a little recording about a homosexual guy that's been jailed for 3 years. And that was done by Tottenham fans last week, and hopefully that will go from ground to ground. What upsets me is the fact that there's so much whataboutery going on from the Newcastle fans to try and justify mental gymnastics to justify it. I haven't seen any Newcastle groups saying, actually, this is wrong. And they're all saying, oh, yeah, if it was your club, you'd do it. But personally, I don't think we would. I was, with the Gaddafi takeover that was mooted, I wouldn't have gone. I would have even stopped going if Paolo Di Canio was named manager because of his fascist tendencies. I think we're got a bit more class than that.
Yeah, I don't know if class is the right word, but obviously there was a lot of back and forwards on Twitter. So it's half term. As a single dad, I've got my kids. I didn't get to go. Lucky enough to go to Arsenal away in a week, but didn't get to go. So I got to saw it on TV on a totally legal South African stream. Totally legal, 100% legal. And they didn't show it at all. So I only saw it on Twitter. It wasn't a particularly large banner and it didn't seem particularly offensive to me, but it caused all manner of controversy. I'm sure you've got your own opinions and I doubt we're going to change them. We'll cover it a little bit more as the show goes on. Particularly a Newcastle fan that sent me a direct message. But other than that, let's get on to the game, shall we? You know all about that. You've got your own opinions and good on you. Right, so somebody's put playing towards the Homesdale first half doesn't feel right. I'd imagine that Newcastle, one of the few teams that have actually decided it was worth their while causing hassle. But it surely does make a difference because the ball gets asked to go in the net by a lot of fans in the second half, and being as we've not been finishing games particularly well, it seems like quite a clever ploy by Newcastle. Nick,
yeah, it just feels unusual. Leicester did the same too, didn't they? I don't know whether there's any psychology in it. It shouldn't make any difference whether it does or not. I don't know, but it's just we've gone so long without playing that way first half. It just seems a bit weird. Doesn't seem right. I don't like change.
I don't like change. Well, let's talk about the first half and let's start with the lineup, shall we? So, Patrick, I know we had a few words before the kick-off when we'd seen the lineup. Elise in and Zaha not in. I think your thoughts on it were sound. If you want to echo them now.
Yeah, I just felt like with Wolf coming off the illness, I didn't think it was a sound idea to start him. And if you were going to start Elise at any point and reward him for his really great appearances as a sub, you had to do it yesterday. Playing at home against a team that's not doing very well, it was a great opportunity. I was pleased with it. I'm pleased for him because I think he deserved it. I don't think Wolf was that bothered. I mean, I've seen or read comments about, well, is it going to upset Wolf? Why would Wolf be upset? Wolf wasn't 100% fit. Because if he was, I'm sure he would have started. And again, I just thought that it was a sound thing to do. I'm actually surprised they didn't start Ayew, to be honest with you, because I mean, people have made comments about Ayew. I've heard you guys on the pod talk about it, but Ayew actually played well last week, so to have him start would have been. But again, at least they deserved to start, and I thought he did quite well yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, I'd imagine if he'd started with Elise and Zaha, the triangle would have been sort of inverted.
Yes.
So to have two up front again, did it surprise you? Is it working? Is there enough movement with the two of them? Can you see them playing together, Edouard and Benteke, more and more?
I can see it if you take out, one of Maka and or Luca. I don't think you can do it with the three with Gallagher, Luca, and Maka still playing. Obviously, I'd like to see it honestly. Again, similarly, I saw comments about Edouard's not a wide player. If you know Edouard, he can play wide, and he's very effective wide. I don't know why people they have to get down on Benteke and say, oh, Edouard should start over Benteke. Why? Benteke's playing great up front. He should have scored 4 goals yesterday. So, but yeah, I would like to see us go with a 4-4-2. If you know anything about our manager, he is willing to change tactics. I don't think he'll do it next week against Man City. It would be silly. But I think at some point you're going to see a 4-4-2 with Edouard and Benteke. And you're going to see Olise and Zaha out wide. And it's going to scare a lot of teams.
I mean, that does sound quite mouthwatering, to be honest. Nick, I mean, this is pure conjecture, but how do you think Zaha feels? It's not very often that he's left on the bench when he isn't 100% fit. Do you think he's been craving the chance to rest up and be 100% fit for games in the past when he's been forced to come on? Or do you think he'd do a Cristiano Ronaldo and sulk?
Well, he wasn't sulking because he was smiling and chatting with people as he walks along the touchline as the teams came out. And even more so during the second half, he seemed really happy. He didn't look like somebody who was fed up with being dropped. And actually, my main thought about it was how far we've come that he's not the first name on the team sheet. Yeah. And we didn't miss him. Well, I don't know if we missed him or not, because obviously you can't compare something that didn't happen with what actually did happen. But yeah, he wasn't upset. And the fact that you've got him to come off the bench, your opposition's going to be shitting themselves, aren't they?
Well, yeah, I mean, without getting ahead of ourselves, the one thing the commentator on the totally legal South African stream pointed out, I think it was Don Hutchinson actually, he pointed out that it seemed that we'd actually got in a mode of thinking where we were playing down the opposite flank so much by that point that actually Zaha was bypassed a little bit. Before we get your thoughts, let's quickly get the thoughts of Christopher Hambling.
I'm your host, Chris Hambling.
Yeah, it's a fair point. Yeah, but how do you think that's the case?
Yeah, perhaps. What was interesting though was Elise. Yeah, a lot came down that side. A lot came down the right hand side in the first half. You were talking about Elise and Ayew earlier, Patrick. I don't think that I can see Ayew starting next game simply because Elise wouldn't have had much tracking back to do against a very, very poor Newcastle team. So I think that was the reasoning there. Yeah, well, if he's got rest, we can't play him all the time, and it shows what an embarrassment of riches we've got in players now, and we haven't even got everybody back yet. So happy days.
Yeah, I want to jump in on that comment you made, Mike, about how we were on the right side. The problem with that is that whether it's Ayew or Elise, that player needs someone behind him to overlap. And Wardy, as much as I like him, and I mentioned this on the Match Reaction show yesterday on YouTube, that Ward does not get forward enough. When he does, he can't cross the ball. So I'm thinking we've got to get Klein in there at some point. DR mentioned yesterday Ferguson, who's way down the line, but at some point we need to have a right back that can overlap and cross the ball, because if you notice on the left side, I don't know if it was the first minute, I might have confused that or whatever. The Benteke header that just went wide. In 6-yard box was Tyreek Mitchell. He's our left back or wing back, or what you want to call him. So we get a lot more width and attacking in the left side, even with Edward and obviously with Wilf, than we do on the right side. And as good as Olise is, and his intelligence, his crossing on the ball is brilliant, we need a right back that can support him better, because Ward just doesn't do it well enough. And that's whether he's Ayew over there, Zaha, or Olise.
I disagree with you completely there. Apart from the crosses bit. Because if you look, Ward made 102 passes with a 94% success rate. Where we had there was a lot of passing along the backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards.
And that's the thing, Nick. Those passes are not forward; they're sideways and backwards.
He was running forward quite a bit. I haven't seen his heat map, but he had Olise there to cross the ball. And Gallagher was there that was crossing the ball. There were three of them playing together in a little triangle.
But when Wilf and on the other side, when Wilf and Tariq on the other side both crossed the ball. I mean, Tariq Mitchell crossed the ball for the goal yesterday, and Wilf's crossed several balls. I mean, I know what you're saying, but my point is, I'm not saying he's not involved. I'm saying he's not involved enough where he doesn't cross the ball. And you can't just rely on just one person, with that being Olise, because if you notice yesterday, what did they do yesterday? They double teamed Olise all game yesterday. If you had a right back that overlapped and could cross the ball, they couldn't do that. And that's the difference.
Gallagher was coming in to fill that role as well.
He can't cross the ball either, but he's not going to cross the ball either.
Ward was staying back when Gay was getting forward, so Ward was one of the players that was staying back. So he perhaps he's not crossing as much, but he's still playing a very important role.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're two different points. Let's discuss Ward now. I thought he was absolutely excellent again, but that is, we're all aware of the shortcomings of Ward's game with that style of play. He is suiting Anderson and Gay perfectly, in that they're perfectly happy to pass at the back, and they've given him a lot of confidence to do the same. And obviously he's a lot closer to them for a lot of the game than Mitchell is, who's getting forward. But with Olise not having the backup, then him starting, it's going to make it hard for him to stand out. When he comes on when everyone's knackered, like he has been doing, it's a lot easier to slot in and do something exciting. But
exactly,
absolutely, Klein would be there. It's whether we would lose something defensively, and whether he trusts Olise with Klein, or whether it would have to be, if Klein was back, it would have to be Ayew, like you say, right, because he's used to, Roy's drummed into him exactly what to do in that scenario. Tough one. But yeah, the comment from the commentator was that Wilf wasn't getting enough of the ball on account of the fact that all the balls by that point were going far down the left and sort of bypassing him. Interesting. No, it's not very often we bypass Zaha. He got plenty of touches in the box, is what I will say. And I think Newcastle actually defended pretty well a lot of the time. It was down to one-on-one. It wasn't that often he got past them. So, yes. Let's move on to Anderson. I saw someone, and I apologise, I don't think they were replying to us. I just saw a tweet and I didn't make a note of it, that's slightly worried that Anderson takes a lot of chances and does a lot of slightly dodgy things in a Sacco kind of a way. Now, he was booked early. I thought he had a very decent game. Is anyone else slightly worried by slightly brazen attitude from Anderson, or is it that game he had a couple of mistakes that's tainted people's image of how he plays?
I'm not bothered by him at all. Not even in the least. I mean, the Leicester mistake, anybody could have made, and the Sacco comparison is funny to me. But when you got players like that who are that classy on the ball, who can play out the back and who can either drive the ball forward and or pass it forward, you're going to be worried. But I love the way Guehi and Anderson play as far as out the back. My only concern with them, and I think Stan from Toronto mentioned on the show yesterday, is set pieces. It's not that they're poor at there. Because I wouldn't blame either one of them, but it seems like for instance, on Monday with Arsenal, Anderson rushed out to try and cut down that cross and that left us exposed inside. I think just we have to be better defensively. And again, maybe that's a team thing. But no, as far as Anderson as an individual player, I love the way that he plays. I'm just hoping that the Guehi-Anderson partnership gels a bit more and we can get better on set pieces. But otherwise, no, I love the way they play at the back. I'm more concerned when Guehi gets the ball in the back than I am with the centre-halves getting it, honestly. I got no problem when he's has on the ball with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fair point. before this round of games, we'd conceded more it was either from corners or set pieces than any other side in the league.
Right.
Which is, I would say that's something that the manager should address first and foremost. Nick?
Obviously, at the game, you don't get the benefit of replays like you do on South African television. Was Anderson's booking soft or not?
No, I think he deserved it. It was early, and we can go into that idiot ref later on, but no, I think he actually deserved that. But if he's going to do that for Anthony, he could have obviously booked some other players earlier for Newcastle also. So he wasn't, but I thought it was a pretty fair yellow card, if I'm being honest.
Okay, fair enough.
I thought the one that was unfair was Ward. Callum Wilson.
Agreed.
Callum Wilson didn't push him once, pushed him twice off the pitch, and him responding, he gets a yellow.
Exactly.
I think Anderson was fine.
Yeah,
was that the moment where MacArthur was confronting Newcastle manager?
Yeah, I believe it was. Yeah.
What's the Newcastle manager's name again?
Don't even know.
A-N other. Yeah.
Graham somebody.
Graham somebody.
Jones.
Right. I mean, we've discussed him a little bit. Wanted to discuss the fact that Mitchell is coming on leaps and bounds as a man going forward. I think we happily discussed him last season that his weakness perhaps was going forward, and the reason PVA stayed in the team for some of the games was Mitchell couldn't do the things going forward that PVA could, but could do a lot more at the back. Well, I'd say right now he is head and shoulders above most wing backs I've seen in if you can ever call them, in red and blue before. And some of the deliveries, especially the one for the goal, were outstanding. What's happened to him? How's he improved so much?
I don't know what it is, Mike, but I'll tell you right now, I am so impressed. And your comparison to PVA is great. People would make a PVA comparison. And again, he was good on penalty kicks and free kicks, and he could score a goal. But he was shocking defensively, PVA. And if you look at Mitchell, and whether that is last season getting to play with people like Kyoto will talk to him, or let's say Tompkins or Dan or Cahill last year, wherever it was, or actually Andros Townsend, whatever it is, he's become so good defensively. But going forward, he's so good. And in comparison, look at Wan-Bissaka today. Wan-Bissaka's gotten worse at Man United, which I never thought would have happened. He was such a good defensive player. I thought, you know what, all you got to do is get better, going forward. He can't cross the ball like Mitchell can, and Mitchell's couple years younger than he is. It's amazing the comparison between those two players, how much Mitchell's come on in the last season and a half and how poorly or just average Wan-Bissaka has been in the last year. So yeah, I actually love the way Mitchell, and then again, I'm going to go back to the Ward point. Again, I'm not criticizing Ward. I'm just saying that if we could get the same kind of crosses we're getting from the left side and the right side, Benteke will score 20 goals this year, or Edouard, or both.
I was going to say without disrespecting the Man United manager, but actually I'm going to disrespect him.
Yeah, do it.
Players aren't there. Man United need players that are fully developed and are superstars already. They don't develop players like they used to under Ferguson. Mm-hmm. Now, Mitchell has got the space to develop. We've got Patrick Vieira, one of the most exciting managers in the game. And you mentioned him yesterday, Ocean Roberts, our assistant manager, who isn't getting enough credit, I don't think, because him and Patrick Vieira are in communication all the way through the game. And you look at the training sessions on YouTube, we have got a tremendous, tremendous backroom staff now that are going to get the best out of these players. And somewhere like Palace is a place for a player to develop. They'll have the space to develop, and they'll be allowed to make mistakes because we're forgiving, because we know that these players are just coming through. Wan-Bissaka isn't going to have that forgiveness allowed him because of the pressures of playing at Old Trafford. I'm sorry, and that's got to affect him in some way or another. Wan-Bissaka should have done himself a favour and stayed with us for another year, another 2 years, but he got the whole I'm Billy Big Bollock story and went on too early, I think.
I do feel like Palace kind of wanted the 50 million quid as well. We'll have him back for a third of the price as a Zaha style at the end of the season, and that'll work out nicely. If Edouard and Benteke both score 20 goals, Patrick, a couple of years ago we scored 31 in the league, so that would be. I'm
sticking with it. I don't care. It's outlandish. I know. I'm sticking with it. I don't care.
Yeah, we'll probably have to have a bit of a cup run, but you're right. I mean, let's get on to Benteke. Obviously, he hit the woodwork twice. He had a goal disallowed that a few people on Twitter said we were ignoring, and it should have been a goal. I mean, it wasn't a goal. Nothing to do with him. Excellent header, but nothing he could do about it. He missed a couple of absolute sitters as well. He could have had, realistically, he could have had 5. So perfectly willing to think that he could score 20 in a season if he gets that kind of service, and if he gets it from both sides, even better. He was a proper enigma. He got man of the match. He got the highest rating on who scored, and yet he himself came on social media afterwards, said he's his own toughest critic, and he probably should have won Palace the game. Real ambivalent thoughts towards him. He was excellent, but also very frustrating. What was it about yesterday that was classic Benteke, as opposed to previous seasons, other than actually crossing the ball in?
I just think that his confidence level. I mean, I know we've spoken on this podcast many times before about how strikers need confidence, and I think just under Vieira, and then he scored in pre-season, he scored last week. I think he's a confidence player, and this is the thing about Benteke, which frustrates me. People forget he was out for, I'm going to say, 2/3 of that one season, and then when he came back, he didn't score. I think he scored 1 goal in like 30 matches, and people don't understand how difficult that injury. I mean, Palace actually put a whole semi-documentary on their website about how he was rehabbing and how difficult it was, and he had a great first season. I think it was 17 goals he scored with us, and I just think, Mike, some people just don't like him. So you say he's scored 5 goals, yeah, but he scored 2 goals. I mean, not for Mark Gray being caught by VAR. He scores 2 goals, and He had a great side volley. The header he had hit, I think the header hit the crossbar. Obviously, the first, I think the charge you're talking about at a sitter was the one when I think he thought he was offside, and he kind of slowed down, took a touch too much, and then he put the ball by the post. You can't forgive him for that. The same thing Ayew did against Leicester, right? I guess, in Leicester first half. So you can't forgive him. But I thought he was brilliant yesterday. I mean, I talked yesterday with DR on the show about how well he played. And he's like, oh, well, he missed his chance. I said, but he played so well, and he could have had a hat trick. I think he's coming into his form, and I think that having players like Gallagher and Olise and Mitchell and Edouard out there to help him, and obviously Wilf, he's going to do really well this year. I just think that people expect him to score 3 goals a game because he missed. I mean, strikers don't. I mean, unless you're Mo Salah, don't score hat tricks every game. So I mean, I thought it was really good yesterday. I was so upset yesterday. I mean, even Diog tweeted out, "We should sub him off," and as soon as he tweeted it, he scored the goal. But I thought it was really good yesterday. I think he takes a lot of flack for no reason. Not for no reason, but unnecessarily.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, so I'd say on average, you're going to have 5 shots before you score a goal in any game.
Right.
Newcastle, for example, had 6 yesterday, and they scored 1, which was an absolute worldie. And my point, I'll let you get in on this, Nick. He looked to be a lot more in the game for a lot more of the game than Edouard. So he may have missed stuff, but he was getting head and shoulders above people for headers. Edouard's played his part, and I don't think anyone criticised Edouard for the way he played the game. So is Benteke just getting shit for the sake of it?
Yeah, I mean, it's like you said, it's an enigma. It was a 16.7% success rate in shots and goals, so slightly below the 20% that you'd expect. And I've seen people on Twitter saying that Edouard would be scoring those, but it's just how it is for Palace at the moment. We just can't buy that win, can we? And it's going to come for Benteke. And the fact that he's scored 2, albeit 1 being disallowed, you've got to keep him there. So yeah, but it's good that he's got that competition up front now with Edouard as well. But now that Edouard's playing on the left, I don't know how that's going to affect him. But it's splendid to see. And he's Wilf's best mate, so we got to keep him there anyway, haven't we? So.
Oh, he's not going anywhere. I mean, Hambo often talks about Benteke. So, Hambo, quick word on Benteke?
I'm your host, Chris Ambling.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's good that Hambo's been on these shows recently. Right, I'm going to just get into a few stats. Now, I'm not really into XG, and let's be honest, even the people that invented XG are not particularly into XG. But I was quite interested yesterday about what it would turn out to be. So I went on Understat and I tweeted out, according to Understat, Palace had an XG of 2.26 and Newcastle 0.72. Benteke hit the woodwork twice and missed 2 golden chances. It's nearly there, etc., etc. All the usual stuff. Palace Ash replied and said, I hate to say it, but we're playing like Brighton did last year, XG Kings. And then Stephen Cousins, my worry exactly. Not to say that XG is of any importance, but sometimes it just shows. I remember there was a game against Burnley a couple of years ago where we had like 29 shots and they had 2. And we tweeted the distances and where shots came out from. Sometimes it's just quite amusing. Did get a Newcastle fan, or a few fans in the end, take the bait. I don't know how they got hold of my tweets, but cheeky NUFC with a Union Jack emoji at the end, and then a picture of the House of Parliament with some Union Jacks on. According to the actual game, you failed to take said chances as you was too shit, so bore draw. Yeah, I mean, it is you kind of after 4 games and 4 draws. I've looked back. I tried to go back as far as I can while I was waiting for the show to start to see when the last time we actually drew 4 in a row was, and I gave up looking. It's got to be a long time ago. So a couple of seasons ago, we actually only drew 7 games, and we've drawn 6 already this season. So yes, we've had some draws. They've not been boring, and I really think that it's getting a cliche now that it's almost clicking. And I hear people on TalkSport saying, well, what's clicking? You've only won 1 game. We've still only lost to Liverpool and Chelsea. It is nearly there. And we were incredibly unlucky. Benteke scoring that second one. I'm not worried, and I'm not trying to make excuses. I think it shows that we're still playing decently and we're not upset. I haven't heard anyone particularly say, oh, this is a problem, this is a crisis. Both of you guys still happy with it? Is it going to come?
So here's the thing, Mike. You make a great point about, and I got no problem in the comparison to Brighton last year, because what Brighton went through last year, there's a one major difference. The first thing is obviously that Potter tried to change the style of play from the previous manager, and it's taken him a year. And look where they are now. Vieira's come in, he's 9 matches in, and we're trying to change it. The difference also is last year, Brighton could not score with the XG. They weren't scoring goals. We've got 2 against West Ham, 1 against Brighton, 2 against Leicester, 2 against Arsenal, and 1 against Newcastle. Brighton were losing games to 0. They didn't have a striker. I remember Mopé couldn't score last year. Benteke has 2 already. Edouard's got 3. Other players. Wolf's got a couple. So Gallagher got 2. So the difference is we're scoring goals. We're just not scoring 4 and 5 goals, which XG is probably saying, or 3 or 4, where they weren't scoring any last year. When they scored 2, they were scoring 0. So that's why I'm not worried about that comparison. Obviously, I want to convert these draws into wins. And I think it's going to come, not this week, probably against Man City, but, after that, we've got some winnable matches. But I'm not worried, because though I'm very frustrated at the draws, they come in a way that we are still scoring goals. I'm much more concerned about keeping clean sheets at this point. If we can start doing that, we'll win a lot of games 2-0. I really believe that.
Yeah, that is a great point about the clean sheets. And it mystifies me, considering how decent our backline looked, but I think it comes back to the set pieces. A couple of other stats. So Terence of this parish, who I had a lovely drink with before the Arsenal game, excellent. He said Crystal Palace have had over 70% possession. It was 76 for this game. For the first time ever in the Premier League game, the previous high was 68%.
Wow.
That's 3 times against Brighton, West Brom and Everton. I'm stunned that we ever had 68. I mean, 76% possession.
It's ridiculous.
It is. And there's other stats as well. Would quickly have some 15 shots, pass success rate of 87%. I don't know if that comes back to the passing at the back a lot, but ridiculous amount of dribbles. Aerials 1, left, right and centre, probably mostly Benteke. It's the stats are excellent, and it just means it's fun to watch. We don't need to keep playing on about it. It's going to wind people up, but
Mike,
yes,
2 of our defenders had more passes than the whole team under Hodgson in every game last season. I'm looking at the league table. We have lost 2 games.
Yep.
Okay. West Ham have lost 2. Brighton have lost 2. Man City have lost 1. Liverpool are unbeaten. Chelsea have lost 1. That's it. We have had a very, very hard start. Newcastle, the first team we've played that below us. We should have won that game. Freak of nature that we didn't. We were unlucky. We've had a couple of those. Or maybe not unlucky, because, as we said, the set pieces, the second phase of the set pieces is what Vieira's got to work on. I don't know whether we can get Tony Pulis on loan for a couple of weeks just to work on those and then sod him off again. But look, we don't have to worry. We really do not have to worry. We are playing the best football I've seen us play since Steve Bruce was in charge. And we played good football then. Do you remember when we won 7 in a row? We're top of the championship.
Yeah, I've still not forgiven him, as I'm sure most people haven't.
I haven't forgiven him, but you can't deny that the football was good.
It was very good. And also, it does seem that we're the team that bicycle kicks are always popular to score against. Yeah, it was a freakishly good goal. All good, all good. Right, let's have a quick break and then we'll get on to some listener feedback. Okay, let's hear a few words about our sponsor, Manscaped, from Patrick and DR.
So support for today's Match Reaction show is brought to you by Manscaped, who is the best in men's below-the-waist grooming, champion of the world. Manscaped offers precision-engineered tools for your family jewels. I like the way that rhymed, by the way. Manscaped just launched the 4th generation trimmer, the Lawnmower 4.0, all across the Europe, and of course I got one here in America. You heard that right, it's the 4.0. Got to get T1, by the way. Join the over 2 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with this exclusive offer for you. 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code BOTN. Again, that's 20% off and free worldwide shipping with the code BOTN at manscaped.com. So I'm one of the few people in the world, or first people in the world, to get the new 4.0. I actually tried it today. I'm not going to lie. It's decent. I'm not going to lie. I'm not one to shave there normally, but I did give it a try today, and it was it's refreshing. Manscaped engineered the ultimate groin and body trimmer by focusing on intelligent functionality and an incredibly comfortable grooming experience. Their 4th generation trimmer features a cutting-edge ceramic blade to reduce grooming accidents. Didn't have one today, thankfully. Thanks to the advanced skin-safe technology, I now feel confident shaving my boys, and I was today. The Lawnmower 4.0 even allows you to customize your trim through additional guard lengths with sizes 1 to 4. Did I mention wireless charging? So again, I was having a problem with it. Hadn't realized that I forgot to charge it. So the wireless charging is excellent. The new wireless charging system uses electromagnetic induction, which can help battery length last longer. So again, get 20% off and free shipping with the code BOTN at manscaped.com. Your balls will thank you.
I don't know if it works, but some cars have wireless charging in them, so you might be able to, have the Manscaped on the go.
On the go.
It depends on how active you are with your lifestyle, so you can do that as well now. So yeah, make sure to check out Manscaped. Great products, and as always, they always send us products, and helps us out a lot. So make sure to go support them as well.
Right, we've got a few 4-word reviews because we get people to stick them in, and then no one ever reads them. So shall we go through a few, gentlemen? The best ones that have come in.
Yeah,
sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll start with Sedelsky Mike. Money has changed hands.
I don't know what's made him think that. Eddie at DM McAllister 28 can't defend set pieces. Richard Bellevance still unbeaten at home.
Pete Carter, dominance didn't equal goals. I mean, it did. We scored one, Pete, but
This next Twitter name is genius. Matt Tassel, but his Twitter name is at Depeche Toad. More draws than IKEA.
Fair enough. TGH at TGH316. Post bar miss disallowed. Yep. Sums it up well.
That's okay. SF Jerry, I presume, comes from San Francisco. Not losing, not winning.
Lawrence Rolfe. Oh, this is harsh, Lawrence. We blew it again.
Yeah, I'm going to do Jason James Morey next at Morey 28, and I'll let you finish off with Lee Fanderson's forehead, Mike. Draws will become wins.
Yes, Jason. And Leif Anderson's forehead, I fucking give up. Come on, Leif. Let's have a bit of belief in the system. Plus the fact, let's remember the immortal words of Big Sam. Respect the point, yeah? We've got a lot to respect now. We've got a lot to respect. Okay, so let's get on to. I'll read some feedback from Twitter from you to you, gents, and you just give us a quick sentence on them, yeah? So we'll start with you, Patrick. This is from the Evergreen Andy, the Twat 1992. Seeing some negative comments towards Vieira, I'm as frustrated as most. But do you think What do you think he was going to do in 9 games? This will take time. I predict at least the whole season until it's exactly what he wants. We're playing decent football and have only lost 2 games. Just chill.
Yeah, I mean, if you're negative towards Vieira, you can be negative anyway. I'm not bothered. Again, someone pointed out yesterday that just take a quick look at the fixtures again, and through 9 matches, he gave us 9 points, but instead of giving us 6 draws, let's say that we had beaten, let's say we beat Brentford, lost to West Ham, lost to Tottenham, which you normally do, lost to Liverpool, beat Brighton, lost to Leicester, lost to Arsenal, and beat Newcastle. We still have 9 points. So, I mean, the difference is that we wouldn't have the 6 draws. So I've got no problem with what Vieira's doing. We've got winnable fixtures again. After Man City, we've got Wolves home, Burnley away, Villa home, Leeds away, and then the dreaded Man United on December 5th, who are absolutely awful. So give me December 5th. Let me see where I am then, and then I'll make a true, not even a true, but I'll be much more ready to make see how Vieira's doing. But right now, I've got zero issue with what he's doing. I'm enjoying watching Palace the first time in 20, 30 years. And I'm being serious about that because I didn't even enjoy Pardew taking us to the FA Cup final. So I've got no problem. And I'm actually the stat you put out before about possession is ridiculous. We're playing 2021 style football with the high press and scoring goals. I'm loving it. So I'm not worried about it. I'm really not.
Right, let's make a note to make sure you're on the pod after December the 5th then.
Exactly.
Simon Barnes, and I think this could have been the title of the pod really. Unlucky or just careless, Nick?
It was one of those games, wasn't it? We didn't deserve to lose. We deserved to win. It just didn't happen. If we refer back to the Arsenal game, yes, we were careless. It wasn't unlucky that Kouate's got a Toblerone head that heads the ball in the wrong direction. So, look, we're playing teams better than us and getting draws. Newcastle were very, very, very lucky yesterday. Can I just make a point? Because we haven't mentioned it, in the past when I've watched this play, it was always give it to Wilf, give it to Wilf, give it to Wilf. And yesterday I found myself saying, give it to, and I had a choice of
anybody.
4 or 5 players that I'd like the ball to go to because they could do something with it. It was Elise, it was Gallagher,
Edouard,
it was Mitchell, it was Benteke because he was running with the ball, and it was even Jimmy Mack who was doing stuff with the ball. When was the last time you could say that was happening? It will come together, I'm telling you.
Yep.
Fair enough. There you go, Simon. Terry Kelly. Vieira commented how well Benteke and Edouard are playing together. Should we consider playing 4-4-2 against teams in the bottom half of the table, Edouard as a number 10? Problem is we have Zaha and Elise in the 4, which leaves Gallagher and one other as central midfield. Port Said Palace replied and said, what a selection problem to have. Love it. I mean, to even have a selection problem is something I can't really remember. Patrick, I mean, you touched on the 4-4-2. Do you want to answer that?
Yeah, I mean, at some point, I truly believe he'll try, when everyone's healthy, that includes Eze, he's going to try Wilf wide with Elise, with Edouard and Benteke up front, with Eze in the middle, with either Jimmy Mack, Luca, or Gallagher. He'll do that. He will try it. I mean, yesterday, remember, we had Mateta, Edouard, and I think Benteke on it at the same time. And then obviously we got the goal that was called back. But yeah, I think it's going to come. Make a good point though, Mike. It's a selection headache, which our managers never had before. But I trust Vieira to make the right decision on that. But yeah, I can see a 4-4-2 with Edouard and Benteke against. I'll do it right now. I'll predict it will be versus Villa at home, Saturday the 27th of November. There you go.
Yeah, I mean, it had not even crossed my mind before this season that would even be an option. He obviously thinks in a way that a lot of us don't. I'll answer this one. Leif Anderson's forehead after his forward review. What the hell have we got to do to win a game of football? Worry these missed opportunities will bite us in the arse at the end of the season. I mean, it won't bite us in the arse if you're talking about relegation. There's some bad teams in the league this year. Obviously, Newcastle are one of those, and we made them look all right at times, but they had 24% possession. We'll be fine. We might not this season be doing anything special, but as we've only finished between 10th and 15th for the first 8 years we've been in the Premier League, if that happens again while we watch better football and develop, then it shows we're going somewhere rather than planning and biting our tongue thinking, oh, this is bad football, and then worrying that we'll have to get in some decent players to do it again next season. So at least it's helping with our heart rate. Richard Tate, Nick, did we miss IU? Always comes up, doesn't it, Jordan? Always
Yes.
comes up.
I don't think we did because we didn't need to track back. We definitely need him against Man City, though. That's
Yeah,
what
I
I'll
think
say
we're going to
there.
need more than judging by. I mean, Brighton cheered us right up after the game. We're going to need more than Jordan Ayew to get anything from Man City. You're going up there, aren't you, in DR's car?
In the DR mobile, yeah. That'll be good.
Yeah. I might actually try and get myself a ticket now that I'm free. I thought I had the kids and I don't. So I also
you're
have to
lucky
get
it's
myself a
sold
Burnley
out.
ticket. You going to Burnley?
I'm in an R, I might do.
Well, if you're going, I won't. But
Oh,
no, I
thanks.
joke. So Cav has asked, did not starting Zaha or even bringing him on at half time cost us, Patrick?
Again, I'll say no. I mean, again, but for Grayhe's unfortunate tug, we win. Well, that doesn't sound right, by the way. Anyway,
It doesn't. No, that sounds really, really wrong.
don't you dare accept that, Sam. Anyway, unfortunate foul. We win 2-1. So, and again, you make a great point. It was an absolute worldy goal by Callum Wilson. I mean, we just aren't getting the break. I don't think Wolf changes that necessarily. I mean, we had plenty of chances. Again, we mentioned before, Benteke had at least 4 chances to score a goal. He scored 1 of those 4. And we had other chances from other players, but Edouard had a couple of chances. But no, I don't think not starting Zaha cost us. I really thought Olise grew into the game and played really well. So I don't think that was the reason. I don't think you could have started him. You couldn't have benched Edouard for Zaha and put him on the left-hand side based on how he sorely played on against Arsenal Monday. So, no, I mean, that's hindsight, and I understand that, but I don't think it cost us the game yesterday, no.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't. He certainly wasn't the player that changed the game after he
Exactly.
came on. Gaz Whelan just replied to that saying players are playing some wonderful football. So much bad luck of late. It'll come. And I will say last season we got some results we didn't deserve. Swings and roundabouts. JCPFC, that's Jack. Was Darren England and co paid by the Saudis for yesterday's performance? Yeah, I mean, the refereeing certainly caused all manner of controversy. What I will want to bring up, and it pissed me off because I saw it before the goal went in, Ward was fouled before their goal, and there's no way they would due a corner. Obviously, that's not the reason it was a 1-1 draw. And again, Newcastle fans were saying, oh, you're just bitter. No, it just pissed me off because we've got VAR. He was fouled. I mean, what else? You sum up the referee in a sentence, each of you. Nick?
It did seem like he was shit. There was a bit of a mob mentality in the crowd once he got going. How much are they paying you was mentioned quite a lot. Just going back to your last tweet, Gaz Whelan music was the drummer in Happy Mondays.
I mean, I presume this isn't the same Gaz Whelan.
No, it is the same Gaz Whelan.
It is?
Yeah.
Oh, well hello there, Gaz Whelan. Wow. I'm not old enough for the Happy Mondays, so I caught the end of Black Grape, but there you go. Yeah, Patrick.
Yeah, as far as refereeing goes, the standard is just so poor. I'm looking him up now, Dan England. He just got promoted to Select Group 1 ahead of this season. It's his first year in the Premier League. He needs to get demoted back to the League 2 playoff final he did in 2017. He's absolutely awful. I've seen him do a couple of games before yesterday's. I don't know how this league that promotes itself as the best league in the world has such substandard refereeing. I know they had a foreign referee did I think it was the Wolves Leeds game yesterday, and I watched a bit of it because I've got like 4 TVs in my front room, and he was really good. We need to get more foreign referees over in this country because the Premier League referees, so the English or British, are absolutely terrible. The standard is really bad. I couldn't name a good referee. Not Atkinson, not Atwell, not Kevin Friend, not Simon Hooper, not Chris Cabot. None of them. Madley, Mariner, Moss, Oliver, Paulson. They're all terrible. Anthony Taylor, Tierney. I'm telling you, they're all terrible. We need better referees in the Premier League. We really do.
A friend of mine, Kevin Lyons, he's an architect and he's got the placement director's box, so he gets a meal and he takes clients there. Didn't have a client yesterday, took his daughter, and they actually sit along from where the referee's assessor is. And his 7-year-old daughter gave the referee's assessor what for yesterday, apparently, in the other game, wagging her little finger at him and everything. So hopefully that did some good.
Yeah, my son was very, very angry when the second Benteke goal was ruled out. Very, very angry. Angrier than me, which is saying something for a 7-year-old. Right, I'm going to leave with one more comment, which it's a very interesting one from Richard Tate, and I think I've thought it before without realising this is exactly what I thought. So it's crystallised something that has come to my head. Is Palace's inability to see off games a hangover from the Hodgson era, which we haven't quite got over yet? The mindset under Vieira is polar opposite to that of Roy, and maybe those from the Hodgson era haven't still quite come to terms with the new approach and reverting to type. For me, the reason I've sort of thought about this before is I've thought, okay, so we're used to being able to see out a game fairly well if we've gone 1-0 up, which didn't happen very often, but when it did, we did well. And so the fact that we're not playing like that anymore, people are worrying, okay, we're more open and we will concede a goal. And on top of that, the fact that I think if I've got one criticism of Vieira, it's that I don't think he's quite understood how to shore out a game. He's brought on bringing Tompkins on for a striker, that kind of thing, which seems just a bit too generic to work to me. So I can see what Richard Tate's saying. I've probably caught you both off guard, but Patrick, your thoughts on that?
I don't think it's that deep, honestly. I just think that I'm not saying you're incorrect. I just think it's every one of the lack of seeing out have been different circumstances. I mean, the Brighton game was an absolutely piss poor kick out by Guaita, a brilliant ball play forward, and honestly, I hate to say it, a really good finish for Brighton.
Boo.
No, I'm being honest. Arsenal now was, second phase corner, and then you mentioned before, someone said, who made that comment about the Kouyaté header being so poor?
Me, yeah.
Right, that, and then Lacazette being there. I mean, there and us not. I really want to put it down to that, just a hangover, but I just think it's just been just bad luck, and I just have a feeling that luck's going to change because in football it evens itself out. They say that, don't they? It evens out over the course of a season. So at some point we'll score 3 or 4 late winners and win matches. I hope at some point. So who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, Nick, your opinion?
Yeah, as Patrick says, it's been different reasons. Look, it's going to come. We've been playing very, very good teams. It was difficult against Newcastle because they had so many men behind the ball and they allowed us to have the ball. Something that we haven't been used to having. We are only 9 games into what I'd like to call the Vieira project. Okay, so let's just give it time. Saturday against Man City is going to be a free hit, and then we can move on with games against Wolves and away to Burnley and those kind of games that we should be getting the points from. So let's just see it through. Let's not panic just yet. If you'd have asked me at the start of the season, okay, by the time we reached the end of October and we had 9 points and we'd only been beaten twice, you'd have been happy with that. And I know Patrick on his post-match show with the effervescent DR, I shall say, after hearing him yesterday, was you thought we'd have 9 points now, but you thought we'd have them in a very, very different way. I think you actually went through each result, didn't you, Patrick? If you want to listen back to that. So I'm not panicking too much. Vieira's learning. It took him 10 games at New York City, as I've said in the past, to get things right. It's not going to happen overnight. Anybody who thinks it's going to happen overnight is fucking deluded. Let's give it till at least next season before we start really, really examining it. We're no way like we were with Frank de Boer, where it's all going tits up. We've got lots of new players in. They're all young. They all love being here. Let's let it develop slowly and brew nicely rather than expecting it now because it ain't going to happen.
You've reminded me I haven't set my my new home brewing thing going there. Right, let's leave it there. Thanks, gentlemen, for that. Excellent stuff. Thank you all for listening to the show, and thanks in particular to everyone who got in touch. As ever, we read them all. We can't use them all, but they do shape the show. So please keep them coming every single show. Thank you very much. The preview team will be back with you this week, as we say, to look at the trip to Man City. They deserve their praise for cheering us up in the Brighton game Saturday afternoon, but hopefully we won't repay the favour. And as ever, plenty more content for you across all social accounts, including our new Instagram account, which Cara is looking after. If you're on Instagram, please give it a follow. be much appreciated at Back of the Nest, which is the case for most of our socials. There's a wealth of live and recorded shows over on YouTube, spearheaded by the immortal DR, including instant match reaction and a chance for you to get involved if you want to. So yeah, just search Back of the Nest, like, subscribe, and all of that kind of stuff. Thank you very much to Sam for producing. She clearly wasn't in the mood to produce, so I really appreciate the fact that she has, plus the fact we've fucked a few things up, so she's got some editing to do. Most of that was my fault. Until next time, come on, you Palace.